friends, Allison here with AJ's Inspired Life. I have a process video for you tonight. I am needing to make my November journal. I have a bunch of journals. I've gone through them all. I've tried to figure out what I want to use for November, and I've decided I'm going to make my own again. Only because my other journals all have too many pages in them and I don't want to rip them all out, and I have so many papers to use. So I'm gonna make another journal. So it will look similar to this one. This was my October daily journal, fauxbonichi, flow book, whatever you want to call it, art junk daily journal. And I thought I had a request on my last video from Rachel Klein asking if I had anything to film how I make them. So I am not an expert. I just learned. I've made maybe 2 or 3 different bindings of signatures or books or whatever. I will put Kristie at Meta Mandala Art. I will put her link below in the video because she made a video for me on how to do a binding, and I do a very, very simple binding. I'm not even too sure I do it correctly, but it works. And what else? I will link Elizabeth over at Never Hopeless as well, because she also has a binding video and how she makes her bigger fauxbonichi, if you will, which is out of a composition book, which I really enjoy, and it had 2 months in it, and it was a bigger page, obviously. So, but this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so let me show you where I'm at, because I just decided I'm going to stop and film it for you guys. So the outside of this is scrapbook paper. It's a 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. And I went through my fall envelope that's how I keep my scrapbook supplies, is like in big fat envelopes. And I went through my fall supplies and I picked out some papers I want to use. So the 12 by 12, I just fold it in half, okay? And then fold up the edge. Let me see really quickly if I can. I don't have one right here. Yes, I do. This one has a tab on it, but right. So I simply fold the 12 by 12 in half, and I do it a little bit better than this with the bone folder and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so there's that part, and then I fold this up, okay, to make a little bit of a pocket here. Now that was a really quick one. I just eyeballed it. It's bigger than my existing, what I have here. So let me show you the measurements of what I have here. This one I've made 9 1/4. Okay. And so you can do however much you want here. You can make this whatever you want. But that's about the size that I like. Part of the reason why is because I use pages out of another book, just kind of folded in half, if you will, and to make these pages. So I don't want my book too much wider than this, because these pages are already only this wide, if you will. Okay. So this is out of like this encyclopedia book that I've showed you guys before. Okay. I just rip pages out, fold them in half. Okay. I've painted them in the book and prepped them. This is a scrapbook piece of paper here with another piece on the back. Now the problem with some of the scrapbook paper, the thinner one, which is what I want for my pages, is obviously that they're only one-sided. And so you either have a plain white piece of paper here, which is completely fine, because gosh knows I certainly covered up, but I didn't want that for this particular journal. And I didn't want to use all my other pages that I had. I had some already pulled from the encyclopedia that I was going to use. These are kind of like pre-folded or pre-painted or whatnot. I mean, isn't that fun for fall? Oh my gosh, so cool. See, it's already folded up. Oh, I might tip that one in. So I already have these, but these are the ones I chose for fall, and they're pretty much all scrapbooking paper, but you could make them out of anything. I have a giant tote bag filled of books and papers that I have used. This particular book, I'm just using like scrapbook paper and some of this painted page paper from the encyclopedia. So all the pages, here's a piece of vellum. And so I just kind of glued it on there to keep it. You can see This is a out of a cookbook, a giant encyclopedia cookbook kind of thing, scrapbook. Okay, so that's all I've done so far is I laid them out, and I want to make sure they're nice and tight. All right, so you can center them. I tend to balance them on the bottom, okay, which means my edges up here are not always the same. I don't care. I've already cut some of them down. I could cut some more, but whatever you decide, you have to decide where you're going to center in this book, right? But it's pretty close with this top edge here. Does that make sense? Okay. So with that, I am going to go ahead and clip the whole thing to the back cover. Now again, if you were really going to do a good job on binding, I would need a little bit bigger piece of paper, and I would need to create a little bit bigger fold here instead of just like folding it over. It wouldn't hold much more than this, okay? And you can see some of these edges are already ooching out, so I will take a razor, probably, you know, a straight edge, and cut those off when the time comes. Okay, but this is where I'm at tonight in tonight's project. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this edge as well. And then I have to remember, see, I'm just learning too, you guys. It's just me doing my thing. So I already lost my ruler that I already just showed you guys how much something. Okay, so basically it's not perfect. I don't sell them. I don't do anything. It's just me and, you know, my little bookbinding tool set here. So I'm just going to measure it off of 9 kind of, okay, because it's pretty close. I know I have some room. So obviously I'm going to put it like at 4.5 right here. And I like to just mark it. And it doesn't matter to me that I have a mark here. None of this is going to show when I do all my journaling. And I come in about 1 inch here. Okay. And I'm going to come in about 1 inch here. If that, does that make sense? Okay. And then I go through and hold the paper, and then I have a pokey thing underneath so I don't do it. Be careful of your finger, obviously, okay? And you just poke through, and as you're all, you know, comes, it's obviously smaller at this end and bigger at this end, and you can poke as much of that through you as you want, okay? So I like to go a little bit more so I get a pretty solid hole in there. Now, what I thought about doing is using my crocodile and putting like an eyelet in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put the string because, again, it's not that important. So I'm going to do the same thing through the middle, and you just kind of got to work it. Okay. But that's a nice hole there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this hole. Now again, this is just my journal, so it's not perfect, you guys. There's 100 million other videos of way better than this. So 2 of them will be linked below. Okay, I have gotten thread. Make sure I have you here. Okay, so this is the wax thread. I bought this little kit off of Amazon. It was a 15-piece book binding because I didn't have time to piece it all out and whatever. It came with a couple things. Most importantly were some big enough needles and the awl, which I didn't have. It came with 2 different bone folders. I don't know the difference between these. I'm sure the binding world will tell you. I don't know. And 3 threads, which will last me, you know, forever. This is, I guess, a thimble. I've never seen an open ring like thimble, but it's a thimble, and this little pair of scissors, which is actually pretty cool, that I can't open, but oh yeah, there you go. So okay, little detour. Okay, so I have my thread. I don't know how much thread. I go like 3 times at least, roughly. Okay, that's how I measure, because I like to have dangles off the end. So you can do 2 things. You can start on the outside, which is what I'm going to do. So the thread hangs off the side. Okay, because I like to have things hanging off the side. If you don't want to start it on the outside, you would start it from the inside. Here's the middle of the book. You would start it from the inside, and then the threads would be in the inside, the tails, if you will. And you could cut them relatively short, and then it wouldn't, it doesn't have to be a dangle, right? Okay, so that's the first choice you have to make. So I start from the outside just because I kind of like that look. And you just have to, you know, find that hole and work with it just a little bit, because even though they're clipped, okay, so that came through relatively easy. And then the, right, like with all sewing, don't lose your end. Okay, so I come up through the middle, and then I go up to the top and through the back. Okay, making sure I'm not losing that tail. Let me think. I don't know another way to do it. I'm not too sure this is the way Kristie taught me, but I bring it all the way down, because if I went up through the middle, yeah. So I'm going to I go all the way down here and come back up this bottom hole. Okay. And then back up through the middle here and out the same hole that we started with, which is why I like to make them a little bit bigger so I'm not fighting with it, right? Okay, now, then what I do is I'll put that needle away, and holding these, oh, see, and those are not very even, which is fine. You can adjust them if you want them even, but I hold on to one for sure, and then you want to, although I might do that. Let's see if I'm going to pull this, right? I'm just going to loosen it and go backwards from what I just did. And loosen and loosen. I'm going to bring it back through this way. What not to do when you make a journal. How about that? We'll do it that way. Okay, so those are closer. See how my tails are closer now? So I am going to hold one though, and I am going to pull these tight as I can kind of make them. Not that you're ripping the paper, but I'm going to need them to hold, because, you know, I pull on this a bit, and it's the only thing holding this book together eventually. So you can see there was a little bit of looseness, or, okay, so that's pretty tight. And you can tie this off. I'm going to close it so it kind of holds it. This clips. And I like to go around this or under this, whatever you want to call it. So I tie it over that. Okay. I don't know why. I just like to do that. Okay. And so then I can decide what I want to do with this. If I want to put beads on it, or if I don't, if I want to tie a bow, if I want to tie other ribbons on it. I do think the next one I make, I will move this whole thing up here. So I'll start here and end here, because I want to put other ribbons and stuff through the end. Oh, and so look at that. Not a great job. So when I poked it through, that back paper slipped, and I am way off the binding here. But that's okay, because it's my paper, like, junk journal for the month, okay? But so if we were to do that again, let's go back and see where I screwed that up. Anyone else who, you know, does this, so like it's on the crease here, and what I think happened is some of the paper slipped as they were clipped, maybe, I'm not too sure, or maybe I put the needle in crooked and it came out a little on the side, okay? Which would be the benefit to maybe using an eyelet also. You'd have to offset it just a little bit. It won't, I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter to me. It's perfect. So I'm going to show you a few things that I'm going to do. I will probably, I might just tape this edge. I still have to decorate the cover. I might tape this edge to create this pocket. Otherwise, I'll just clip it. Last month, I just clipped it like that. Because I can always rip this off, right? And use it as a tag if I want to. I will probably put some sort of pocket in here that I make, like some sort of envelope. Here is one that this little guy travels to a lot of my journals with me, and I know he's not very fall. You can tell I've ripped him off, and I just love him though. He's so cool. So the purpose anyway is obviously to stick stuff in there that I know I'm going to use for the month. Here's another little envelope I made, and I tucked little dates and whatnot in there. Okay, so I might do something like that. And then what else? I'm going to, here are my watercolored papers for the month that I'm going to stamp my dates on. And so I'll prep those, and so they'll look like this. Okay, so I stamp the circles, and then I don't stamp the numbers yet. Obviously, I just cut them out as I need them because different colors and different pages or whatever I'm in the mood for. Okay, and then I have this sticker set that I wanted to use. So this might like actually go on the cover. We'll see. Okay, so this is an old scrapbooking thing. And then I'm going to go in and add some more fodder and tags and that sort of thing. So it's ready to go. Today is actually already the 2nd. This set, I had a super old set, but kind of fallish. So I'm going to pull this tags, have them ready to go. This is the sort of thing I'd put in those front pockets. Okay. So what else? This is just a page, a piece of, what do you call this? Vellum, I guess. I don't even know. Acetate, maybe. It doesn't work this way, right? Because you can't see what it says. So I'm going to have to actually cut it because I want this fall. And I might place it, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it somewhere. Anyway, so I will like tip that in just as like a single page. And I got these what I'm grateful for, pick a prompt. These were at Target in the dollar section, you know, dollar, not dollar section. I think it was a $3 item. I bought 2. I bought one for me and one for work. How about that? And look how cute they are. They're like heavy chipboard. And the idea is like people pick them, and then if you're at the table and it's like things you're grateful for, and then you talk about what your favorite place is or something like that. But I thought I'd use them as like, you know, gratitude daily prompt something. And then they have a few, I don't know how many it might say, but they have a few blank ones, which I thought was a great idea because obviously these are just so general. The city where I live, my home, a joke someone told me, I don't know. So anyway, I got it. Oh yeah. So see, they might have 2 of each color. It looks like my room. I would put like my craft room. Anyway, so I got that to kind of do this month. So that's what's happening. I hope that was helpful. Like I said, I will link, some other videos below because they're certainly better at binding than I am, but that's a quickie for you. So, you will see as the month goes on how my pages progress. And and what I did here, I think I showed you, but I had to glue some of these together. So that makes one page. You could easily leave them blank, but yeah, so I'm excited, you guys. It's November. And so that's that's going to be my November fauxbonichi. All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care and have a great day. I hope you find something today that inspires you. Bye.